Hi, I'm Christiana Gaudet. I'm here today with a review of Chrysalis Tarot. Chrysalis Tarot is by Holly Sierra and Tony Brooks, published by U.S. Games, and it came out very recently in May of 2014, and people are already loving this deck. The theme of Chrysalis Tarot is otherworld journeying, and Chrysalis Tarot belongs to a tarot tradition that I call archetypal assignment. In archetypal assignment, the deck creators choose a theme and then find elements, characters, mythology, stories from within that theme to illustrate the archetypes of tarot. Chrysalis Tarot is definitely a modern tarot deck that doesn't follow any of the major tarot traditions. For me, there's a little bit of an unfortunate contrast between artwork that is specific and detailed and precise and card interpretations and tarot archetypes that feel, to me, a little loosey-goosey. Not every tarot reader really thinks about tarot archetypes. We can come at tarot from a number of different perspectives: astrology, Kabbalah, memorized keywords, intuitive readings based on what we see in the card images and how they make us feel. There's no one right way to read tarot. But if you're an archetypal reader, as I am, you may have some issues with Chrysalis Tarot. I want to let you know that Tony Brooks and Holly Sierra are working on a full-length companion book that will be coming out in 2015. This may answer a lot of questions for me and may help me love Chrysalis Tarot as much as I'd like to. I'm going to show you the cards. I'm excited to share this beautiful artwork with you. I'll share with you my concerns. For a lot of people, these won't be concerns. This deck will work very well for a lot of people, and frankly, in a reading, it works well for me too. My problems with it are intellectual. I'll share them with you and let you make your own decisions about Chrysalis Tarot. Chrysalis Tarot is affordably priced and comes in the standard U.S. Games box. It comes with a 59-page little white book written by Tony Brooks. The card backs are spectacular. You can see the butterflies. You can see these really wonderful designs. They are reversible, and this is really a testament to Holly Sierra's use of lines and colors and textures. The cards have antique-looking tan-colored marble borders. The names of the cards are written in a really nice font with the numbers in sort of a window at the bottom of the card. I had a friend point out that when you put the cards together side by side, the marbling matches up, and so they kind of flow into each other in a nice way, which is really beautiful. Now, as I mentioned, this is an archetypal assignment deck, and we're going to meet some characters from mythology from all over the world, some deities, and some other interesting characters, starting with Card 0, which they've renamed. Instead of the Fool, they're calling the Hero. Merlin typically is the teacher. He's the wise old man. But the Fool for Merlin, that doesn't make any sense to me at all. Maybe it will make sense to you. In the little white book, okay, traditional titles, Fool or Hero. Attributes. New beginnings, sure, I think we can all agree with that. Healing. Now, I would argue that every card is a healing card. Every card helps us heal. But does the Fool in some way say healing to you when it comes up in a reading? That's a new one for me. I don't know. So here's how we start. Merlin's cuddly cat draws you at once into his mystery and magic. Cats, who have 9 lives, symbolize rebirth, and 9 indicates completion and perfection. Cats are forever curious and quick to take risks. While journeying into the unknown always involves risks, there are significant rewards for those willing to dive in deeply with an open mind. Okay, I like the piece about risks and rewards. That's very Fool-like. That makes sense. But, you know, here's the thing. You had all of history, all of art and literature from which to draw a character to indicate the beginning of this journey, to represent each one of us on our journey here, and the best he could do was Merlin's cat. Ravens is the magician. Sorceress is the high priestess. Now this card I have no complaints about. Card 3, the Empress, we have Gaia. And this is just lovely. For me, the archetype works perfectly, of course. Can't imagine that it wouldn't work for you. I love it. The Green Man is the Emperor. Okay, here we go. Divine Child for the Hierophant. The attribute we have here in the little white book is self-discovery. What Sierra and Brooks are trying to do here is to turn the Hierophant around, to make the Hierophant less of a self-righteous jerk and more self-reflective. And okay, that is their right to do. But here's what it says. The Divine Child archetype symbolizes your full potential. The child, male or female, is surrounded by reminders of transformation, such as the butterflies and frog. What it says in the next paragraph, most tarot decks title this card the Hierophant, a religious authority figure. In Chrysalis Tarot, the task of spiritual growth is an individual responsibility that requires an open mind and critical thinking. When Divine Child lights up your reading, you are asked to embrace yourself. Okay, so I get where they're going with this. But I feel like the Hierophant archetype is needed, and since it's not here and replaced by something else, I kind of have an issue with that. Okay, the Lovers is the Lovers, very lovely. Hearn the Hunter is the Chariot. In this deck, Justice is card 8, Strength is card 11, and we have Mott for Justice, which is a very beautiful card and a very legitimate association done in quite a number of decks. Now, here, for the Hermit, we have the Storyteller. It's a beautiful card, but once again, I'm not sure if the archetype for the Storyteller is the same as the archetype for the Hermit. Here we have the Wheel for the Wheel of Fortune, very nice. Papa Legba is Strength. Okay, here we go. Celtic Owl for the Hanged Man. It's a lovely card, and it is either the most brilliant assignment in this deck or not. So I Googled on Celtic Owl, and it turns out that although it's an extremely obscure reference, in Celtic lore, the owl is all about otherworld journeying. So it makes sense to be in this deck. But does it work for the Hanged Man archetype? I don't know. Ariadne for Death. Okay, here's another one. Golden Flower for Temperance. And I have to say, I love this Temperance image. I think it's absolutely a beautiful card. Golden Flower, it turns out, is another obscure reference in the I Ching. I have no idea why it was chosen to represent the balance and the blending and the alchemy and the art of temperance. Bella Rosa is the Devil. This one I think is a no-brainer, and I love it. Kali for the Tower. Elpie for the Stars. Let's look it up in the little white book. Each evening when the sun sets, Elpie, whose name means hope, lights her golden censer and prepares to dash across the sky. With help from 4 steeds, which symbolize the 4 winds, She sets the darkened skies ablaze with fiery lights to symbolize the good things that got away. When Pandora opened her mythological box, a swarm of evil escaped into the world. Hope was the only good thing that remained behind. Elpie is that promise of hope in brighter days. She reminds you never to despair as you confront life's inevitable misfortunes. Elpie reminds you that the choices you make today determine your future, and always to visualize destiny bathed in hopeful starlight. I love that. I'm sold. I'm sold on the image. I'm sold on the archetypal assignment. Okay, I love this image of the moon. I love how there's certain details in this deck that really make it look kind of old-timey, antique. And you see the little character here on the island in the moonlight with the stars, and we have keys and all kinds of sort of filigree. I just love this moon image. Now, the sun. I love the image. I love how there's a different scene in each of the sun's rays, and that the sun is like a flower. I love how that kind of is a tip of the hat to the sunflower in the Waite Smith image. I love it. What I don't like is the sun is crying. Why, pray tell, is the happiest card in the deck crying? Well, let's take a look in the Little White Book. Okay. Traditional title, The Sun, Attribute Empowerment. I'm comfortable with the sun as a card of empowerment. That makes sense to me. In a moment of tenderness, Sun sheds a fatherly tear because so many of his children neglect beauty, truth, and justice in favor of materialism, power, and dogma. Yet even a lamenting sun is an excellent card to have in your reading. Okay, it goes on. But to me, that is smarmy and preachy and a real step away from what the sun is. Card 20, Judgment, is the Phoenix. This is one of my very favorite assignments in this deck, and in general for Judgment. We see it in some other decks as well, and I always love it. Psyche for the World. Now, in the Minor Arcana, the 4 suits have been renamed, but maintain their elemental associations. Spirals is Wands. Mirrors is Cups. Scrolls is Swords. And Stones is Pentacles. And you can see that the suits are gently color-coded, and I think that's going to be a boon for new tarot students. I really like the artwork in the Minor Arcana as well as in the Major Arcana, and specifically in the suit of Spirals. I love the way the spirals have been worked into different images, like here it's a ram's horn. I really like that. I do have a hard time with the masculine elements not having more masculine icons. Okay, so let's just go through and look at the suit of Spirals. And you'll see some of the images might be instantly recognizable. Here's the 4 of Spirals, or it would be the 4 of Wands. We see a nice home in the woods. Some of them would be instantly recognizable, some of them wouldn't be. I like the 8 of Spirals very much. I love the 9 of Spirals. This is one of my favorite cards. The suit of Cups is, in this deck, the suit of Mirrors, and I really like this suit. I like the artwork. I like the idea of mirrors for the emotional watery cups. I love some of these images. Okay, here we have the 10 of Mirrors, and it is such a beautiful image, but it's really very different from any 10 of Cups image I've ever seen. So let's take a look. And this is a good example of some of the problems that we have with this deck. The key word that we're given in the Little White Book is peace. Now, typical key words for the 10 of Cups: home, family, contentment, love. These are things that are peaceful, but they do not equal peace. In fact, in the Crowley keywords, the Two of Swords is the card of peace. It's these kinds of things that just feel kind of sloppy. I think scrolls for the element of air, I think that's pretty smart, since air is so much about communication. And people get really confused about the Suit of Swords in a more traditional deck because they see the swords as so violent, not realizing it's our thoughts and our words that do the most damage. So I like the scrolls. The Nine of Scrolls, I think, is a nice way of depicting what in any deck is going to be a difficult energy. Okay, the Suit of Stones. This would be the Pentacle suit. Okay, now, let's take a look at the Troupe. Artistically, the Troupe, these are my favorite cards in the whole deck, and that's because each of them is in this gateway, this doorway, and so there's an extra border, and in the border of each card, there's all kinds of really, really cool stuff, and I just love it. I love it. These are my favorite cards in the deck. Here's my problem. They've worked with archetypes in the court, and that's wonderful. Each of the troupe members has a special name. The Page of Mirrors, for instance, is the healer. The Page of Spirals is the mime. The Knight of Spirals, the corsair, and so on. Some of them make absolute sense, and some of them don't make any sense at all to me. And again, I'm waiting for the book, and I am hoping that someone will explain to me, how is it that a king sojourns? I would think knights would sojourn, but not kings. The Page of Stones as the acrobat, in my mind, is the most egregious. Now, it's a beautiful image. I love the image. But, okay, Page of Pentacles. In my mind, the Page of Pentacles is what? A kid with a lemonade stand, maybe? A young person who takes care of their responsibilities? A person who is learning about business, perhaps? The acrobat, the Page of Pentacles. Attributes: transition, perspective. Okay, when you meet the acrobat, she'll inspire you to rise above your troubles and vault up to a fresh reality. She invites you to appreciate that there's always more than one way to see things. This card is about gaining perspective. Her playful primate, that would be the monkey right there, symbolizes the mobility of thought that comes through learning. The acrobat is a studious, serious person with a frolicsome sense of humor. In your reading, she promises good news and unexpected developments. I don't know, that doesn't seem like any Page of Pentacles I've ever met. Now, I will say there is value in this kind of archetypal assignment deck, even if we don't agree with the assignments. The fact that as tarot students we can look and we can say, well, is this the Page of Pentacles to you? How is it? How is it not? Does it work for you? Does it not work for you? If it works for you, then you have expanded your understanding of the Page of Pentacles. If it doesn't work for you, then you've solidified your own understanding of this card. And with this deck, you have the opportunity to do this with each and every one of these cards. I think that if you are a person who doesn't really resonate with tarot, but want a structured oracle with beautiful pictures, this may be the deck for you. If you're an intuitive tarot reader, you may find this deck really sings to you. If Chrysalis Tarot is your first tarot deck, you should have no problem working with the little white book and working with the images and using this to give yourself and the people around you wonderful readings. Just remember that if you want to go to a more traditional deck later, you'll have to learn some new things. If you're an experienced reader, you'll probably find a way to make the leap into this deck as long as you feel called by it. If you're a tarot traditionalist like me, you might be wishing that Holly Sierra and Tony Brooks would put their amazing talents into a more traditional deck. But in the meantime, it doesn't hurt you to stretch a little.